It's amazing because today we're living like in the opposite of this, or actually the kind of ceiling of this. Because back then it was like, now the big thing was the gospel to go from the Jewish people to the world, to the Gentile. But now we're at the time where the gospel is coming back to Israel, coming back to the Jewish people, coming back to its roots. The church is coming more and more back to its roots, the true people of God. So it's actually the opposite now. Now Jewish people are coming in. It's funny because, today, well, actually back then, they would be asking, if they said, I'm a Gentile, they'd say, and you're a follower of Jesus? Because this is a Jewish thing. And yet, today, it's really the opposite. If you're Jewish, you say you're Jewish, and I believe in Jesus. You believe in Jesus? Well, so you're a converted Jew. Well, yeah, but I didn't convert from being Jewish. I converted from being in sin. It's like saying I'm Italian and I converted from being Italian. But people don't do that. If you're Italian, they don't say, oh, you're a converted Italian. So that's kind of weird. It's I didn't convert from that, or okay, you're a completed Jew. It's like I got to come up with some way to figure this thing out. Back then, it was the opposite. It was that, and if you weren't Jewish, they'd say, well, how could you be this? Well, God is now opening the door, going back. The thing is, it's not only for me that I can say to somebody, I said, not only I'm still Jewish, I'm more Jewish than I ever was. Back before I had Jesus, Yeshua, I was not nearly as Jewish as I am now. And the fact is, if you're Italian or German or African American or Latin American or Asian, you're more Jewish than you ever were because you're grafted in. Because what is more Jewish than following the Jewish Messiah? He's in you. You're a child of Israel. Well, some will say, now you're under the new covenant. You should eat ham. Come on. You're not under the law. Come on. Yes, I am free to eat ham, but do not put me under the law of ham. The fact is, we are free. It is time for well, let me tell you, I didn't plan this. Probably shouldn't, but I don't know. I'm like, stories told of a Jewish man in the Middle Ages, and he comes in and to accept Jesus, and the church says to him, okay, they sprinkle water on him, okay, you're not a Jew anymore, you're a Christian, So they say, okay, here it is, and on Fridays you don't eat meat anymore, you eat fish. So they're all eating fish, and they smell this filet mignon coming from Marty's house. And they said, what's going on? Oh, remember, you don't eat. You're a Christian now. You don't eat steak. And by the way, this is not in the Bible, but you don't eat steak on Friday. Fridays. Next week, it's again. They're smelling it. It's filet mignon. They said, what are you doing? How can you eat this? They said, oh, I didn't know. I said, well, they said, no, it's not. They said, it's steak. I said, no, it's not. It's a fish. Said, what do you mean? He said, I took the fish. I sprinkled water. I said, you're not a fish. You're not a steak anymore. You're a fish. Okay. It's not in the Bible. But that's the point. Change that. It is time now. God is bringing back what he did back then. We're like in the other side of it. He's bringing back the other branches, coming back into the olive tree. That's what's happening. So it's time now. We're on the reverse to receive back. The church is turning back towards its roots. The true church is turning back. They're all over the world. The Israel and the Jewish people have never been and the Christians and Israel have never been as joined together as they are this day. To this day, from the book of Acts, that's the first time. When the two comes together, what will it be, says Paul? It will be life from the dead. It will be resurrection. It will be blessings, and Messiah will come. So what does this tell you? We're part of that restoration. What does this tell you?
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA.